Hello everyone and welcome to the Daily Black and White. We wanted to make a video today telling you about how we ended up living on Disney property this past summer. So I've been making TikToks about our adventure, but a lot of you had questions about how this whole thing started, so we wanted to come on here and tell you. So let me start from the very beginning. So we sold our house in Florida right as the pandemic hit, and we did pretty good on that house that we sold, but the housing market in Florida was changing about that time, and everything was just getting super expensive. So after we sold the house, we really didn't have anywhere to go. So we went through a period of not having anywhere to live, and then we ended up finding a little house that we fixed up and we sold, and we did pretty good on that. But even with the money that we had made off the two houses, we just really were priced out of the Florida housing market. We just couldn't afford to buy anything. So we ended up making the decision to come back to where I'm from, which is Missouri. So we moved to Missouri in, I think we got here in, August? August of 21. And we bought a house, and the houses here are just so much cheaper than they are in Florida. The house that we bought is really nice. It's a really cute house. It's been completely remodeled. It's 4 bedrooms, so it's perfect for us. We have some place to put our Disney stuff, as you can see. But as much as we enjoy it here, we like it here, the school is good. We put the kids in school. It's a great place to be, but we want to come back to Florida. That's just where we want to be. And you can't live the lifestyle that we live of going to theme parks every single day and then coming back to live in the middle of nowhere where there's just nothing to do. I think that's the most frustrating part for us. And so what we wanted to do was kind of put our own touch on this house, and then by the time the kids got out of school in May, we would head back to Florida, which we kind of did. So we put the house up for sale ourselves. We tried to sell it ourselves for like the month of January, I think, and then we finally listed it with a realtor in February. And we had some showings, and I think at one point we even had an offer, but we didn't take the offer because the housing market was still pretty strong for sellers at that time. So anyway, we didn't sell the house, but we went ahead and left for Florida. So the kids got out of school May 20th, and we left for Florida May 21st. So the plan was to find a long or short-term rental or like a long-term Airbnb that we could rent for what we assumed would be a couple months, 3 at the most. Mm-hmm. Well, Airbnbs ended up being like $3,000 a month. Well, you get into 3 months and you're, $9,000, a lot of money. So what we did, we thought we would spend like a week on Disney property, just stay at the hotel and enjoy the parks and everything before we found an Airbnb. Well, we got down there and we booked a suite at Art of Animation. So we stayed in the car suite, which was great. We had never stayed there. I know you had always wanted to stay in a suite, and our son loved it because he loves cars. And then they only had 2 nights available, and so after we checked out of our second day there, we had to go online and try to find a discount to see if we could get another resort, which we found a discount at All Star Sports, which was great. We don't have any problem with All Stars. I think, and we've stayed. I think we had stayed at all of the All Stars before that even. Oh yeah. And so we thought, well, we'll do a week, and then we'll find an Airbnb. Well, Airbnb never happened. $3,000 a month is just unheard of. And even when we would find a short-term rental that was under $3,000 that we were willing to take, by the time we called on it, it was either gone or the price was higher. Yeah. So it was a stressful we stayed 35 nights or something at Disney, and we would get the amount of nights that we could at a discount, and then after that we'd have to check out, and then we didn't even know where we were going. It was crazy.
It was literally a process of checking out of one resort and then looking for a discount to check in the same day that we were checking out. Only because, really, like, when we checked before, there'd be nothing available. And it's like, you just keep coming, you just keep checking back, and then it'd be like the day of. You check out of one resort at 11,
It
you
was
get your next resort at 1 o'clock.
Well, yeah, sometimes at 11 is when, it wasn't at 11 o'clock when they would release new openings.
After 11 or something.
Yeah. So there were times that we'd just be like, oh my gosh, we don't even know where we're going to stay. We would sit in our car and like have lunch or something. We'd take the kids to have lunch or something and be like, I don't know where we're going. It was super stressful. We're used to stressful situations.
Yeah, we put ourselves in a lot of chaotic situations anyway. So it's like some people probably look at that and say, why would you do that to yourself?
Why are you dumb?
And we're like, I'm like, it'll work out. It always works out.
Yes, and it does, but there were times where I was just like losing my mind. But in the beginning, especially now, after the first few stays, I was like, okay, I have this figured out now. And I wouldn't worry so much. But we had some really great stays. We stayed at all of the Values, Coronado Springs, and Port Orleans Riverside. Was that it?
Yep.
We did not have a bad stay, a bad experience, anything. Everything was great. And we're used to going with the flow, and we can have a good time anywhere, everywhere. So we spent the most time in All-Star Sports, though. All in all.
Yeah, we had probably 2 significant stays in All-Star Sports because we stayed Art of Animation first, All-Star Sports. Then I think from there we went to music. After music, we switched over. We stayed at Coronado.
Okay.
From Coronado, we jumped over to Pop Century because we stayed at Pop Century for a little bit.
Pop Century. From
Pop Century, we went to Port Orleans Riverside, and then from Riverside, we went to All-Star Movies.
And so Pop Century is a really big resort for us. It's my favorite resort, even though it's a Value. And our daughter was born while we were at Pop Century 7 years ago, so that's really special for us. What surprised me about our stays was our Port Orleans Riverside. And I had always told people, I don't know if I really like that resort. It's not very Disney, and I just don't think it's for me. So when we booked it, it was just kind of like, okay, well, it's somewhere to stay for a couple nights. I ended up loving that resort. The room was so pretty. The pool, even though we had been over there before, it just was different this time. The pool was great. It's a really beautiful resort. Now, the other moderate that we stayed at was Coronado. And we've stayed there before. And before, it wasn't terrible. I didn't dislike the resort, and I don't dislike the resort. This time, I just wasn't feeling it, though.
And we will definitely get into our favorite places to stay. Like, I would love to go through every resort that we've either stayed at or even would like to stay at, because we've been to them all. We've actually visited every resort on Disney property, and we've stayed at more than enough. I would say. I mean, there's a lot of deluxe resorts that we haven't stayed at. Yeah. But we've been so many times, and I think that every resort has its unique experience to it. It's not for everybody, but at the same time, I'm not going to ever shame a Disney resort. I'm never going to tell someone don't stay at this resort. It's on Disney property. Stay wherever you want to stay on Disney property. Yeah,
we've stayed at so many places, and like he said, visited everywhere. We love resort hopping. On a day that we don't go to the park for whatever reason, we will go resort hopping, and we have the best time. Just doing really nothing. Just visiting and walking around or having lunch. And I think really Disney encourages that type of thing so you can see what each resort has to offer. So going into detail about a lot of these resorts would be good. But I don't think there's a bad resort. I just think that Coronado is my least favorite resort.
For me, there's a lot of resorts that, they have a theme to it, but it's not the theme I think of when I'm thinking of going to Disney World. Art of Animation is probably one of the best themed resorts because when I go to Disney, I want to be surrounded by Disney. Right. And that is one of the resorts where you're staying in a cartoon world. Whereas the other resorts, they have a different appeal. My favorite resort is the Contemporary, and there is nothing Disney about the Contemporary resort. It's just a style of it.
Yeah, and it's funny because we have different opinions. His favorite resort is the Contemporary, but I don't know that I have that much of a desire to stay at Contemporary. I don't have that draw to that resort that he has, but you stayed there with your dad, I think is maybe the draw for you. But yeah, we definitely have different opinions because For me, my number one is going to be Yacht and Beach Club, and we've never stayed there. We've been there, visited many times, but and I think it's number one for me because Beach Club has the best pool, hands down. Beach Club has the best pool. Never been to it.
Because you have to stay there.
Yeah, you do.
To actually get to enjoy that pool.
We've admired from afar, but...
Well, technically you have to stay at all the resorts to go to the pools, but
yeah.
Yacht and Beach Club is like lock and key.
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably the number one place I want to stay. But we would like to do some videos about our favorite resorts, our favorite things in each park, rides, attractions, food, anything like that. Like, mostly, like you said, to pass the time of being here.
And of course, again, there's lots of people that cover Disney content. Mm-hmm. You have probably heard a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about in future videos, but it's probably going to be a different perspective because, I mean, there's history behind it with us. There's just more of appreciation, I think, that some people have over others. Like, for instance, we're the type of people, we'll go to the park, I'm fine with getting a bite to eat and then leaving. Yeah. I don't have to get on a ride.
Like I said, we can have a good time doing anything or nothing, but just walking into the park, even if we don't do a single thing, just walking into the park. There's nothing like walking into Magic Kingdom and walking up Main Street and just hearing the music, smelling the smells, hearing other people who are seeing the castle for the first time. Like, all those great things. And we don't have to ride a single ride. We don't have to do anything at all. And we'll have a great time.
There's been times where we would not even plan on going to the park, but we sat out front of the Magic Kingdom for a few minutes, and it's just the music that's there. And we like to people watch. That's probably our biggest thing. We love people watching
and we love people, oddly. Most people hate people, but we genuinely love people. We're people. Yeah. And so we hopefully will be able to put some more videos out. We want to keep you guys posted mostly on how things are going with the house and how we're doing on trying to sell the house and when we might get back to Florida. It's going to be a big adventure. And sorry to interrupt, if the house sells right off the bat, that's going to be a crazy adventure in itself. Oh, yeah. And we live on the edge of ours. I don't know why we do these things to ourselves. We live the craziest life. You guys couldn't even imagine the things we've done. I know that my family is probably like, she's crazy.
I think everybody would probably think that we're crazy. Yes. Because, I mean, we've lived a life from 2016. It's been an adventure. And it just, right now, it's not stopping, but it's actually always ending up on a positive note at the end of the day. So
after many heart attacks have been had, though.
Yeah.
So
literally.
Yeah, almost literally, yes. But yeah, so because I've been in Florida since 2013, you've been in Florida since 2008. So, and we met in 2013.
Yeah.
So it's been a crazy ride, but like we're just Disney people. We're theme park people. Even on days we don't go to Disney, we'll go to Universal, or I really enjoy SeaWorld more than you do, but SeaWorld is fun. We had Universal annual passes that ran out in June, so we spent a lot of time this summer at Universal for like a month straight.
And that balanced out because there were a couple times we just couldn't get reservations for Disney World, so it's kind of like, let's go to Universal. It's easier anyway, and still had a good time there. And so.
Yeah, and I've never been a Universal person. I've always been Disney, but you had spent a lot of time at Universal, so you are able to show me things. And I enjoyed it this past summer more than I ever had. So I think annual passes are something we'll get when we get back down there.
And we will definitely probably talk about that comparison as well because, again, I've been going to Disney since I was a kid. I was born in 82. I think my parents took me when I was like 8 months old for the first time to Disney World and continuously came every year ever since then. And then Universal Studios pops up and, that turned into my favorite park as I get into the teenager phase. So it's like I can pretty much say from experience, it's like I could see the upside and the downside to each park and for everybody. Like one of the things that we love to do is we love when people ask us questions about what to do in Florida because we have a good gauge on depending on what it is that you're looking for, what's your thrill factor, how much do you really want to spend and stuff like that. Like we're not experts, but we are pretty knowledgeable of what we talk about.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, I mean,
between the both of us, and we're very different, so we both bring very different things to the table, I think. But anyway, we just wanted to take you guys along on this adventure, good or bad. So we hope that you'll stick with us, maybe like this video and maybe subscribe to our channel. We're going to be making some more videos just to pass the time while we're here and talk about our favorite things at Disney or things that we miss, things like that. So hopefully you'll stay with us. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you later.